Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales, where we make atmospheric tabletop role-playing games, and then we stream them for you like this. That's what this is. Hi. Welcome to Blades in the Dark, which is our regular Tuesday night show. Before we do anything else, let me introduce you ever so briefly to our wonderful stream manager, Steve, who monkeys around behind the scenes with all things webcam and art and rules references and chat and all that. It's exhausting, even thinking about it. Hi, Steve.
Yeah. Hi there.
Hi. If Steve flashes up, he's not some weird kind of, he's not a hacker kind of invading our stream, tapping away with a blue, a green glow on his face.
Has to be green, yeah.
It has to be green. It has to be green. That's what color computers are. So, thanks, Steve. And time for me to pile on in to the promo. We're Telling Tales. We run 3 games a week normally, although last week and this week and next week are all a little bit wonky somehow. But usually we have a Call of Cthulhu stream on a Monday, a Blades in the Dark stream on a Tuesday, and Coriolis on Wednesdays, all of them starting at 8 o'clock in the evening BST. We also run monthly one-shots on the first Saturday of every month. The most recent one was Honey Heist. And there's a bunch of other ones through the year that you can find over on our YouTube in VOD form. And the next one, which is going to be on Saturday, the 7th of August, will be the One Ring, the new version of the One Ring from Free League. How exciting. Speaking of YouTube, we've got a link down below for it, along with a link to Twitch, because, hey, maybe you're watching on YouTube. We've got links to our social media and to our Patreon and to our Discord and all that fun stuff. I suppose it is worth talking about the slightly wonky schedule we have at the moment, just so everyone knows what's happening. So Call of Cthulhu is on a temporary hiatus between the second and third arcs, but I believe it will return on Monday, the 2nd of August. So we're looking forward to that. Although I believe next Monday, we're going to have a kind of Call of Cthulhu discussion stream. I'm not entirely sure on the details on that just yet, but that's happening. Coriolis has been off for a couple of weeks, but it does return next week. And then that'll run for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be heading back into Simbroom. Speaking of which, so as I say, Coriolis returns tomorrow next week. That means tomorrow night we're not doing Coriolis, but instead we will be streaming a kind of combination Simbroom catch-up and character creation, because our new player, Stephen, needs a Simbroom character. It's all very confusing and back and forth and things happening in between other things, but that's absolutely fine. We also run a series fortnightly on Sundays over on the Free League Twitch. That's a Simbroom series as well called Fetters of Stone. We return with that this Sunday at 3 o'clock p.m. BST, and that's over on the Free League Twitch, not here. So much promo. So with that handily out of the way, let's talk about Blades in the Dark. And specifically, let's talk about what went down last week. So in Blades in the Dark, we play a group of scoundrels in the kind of industrial punk city of Doskvol. We have the Keepers, who are a group of daring smugglers, and one among them is called Three Sheets and is played by Justin. And last week started with a downtime phase. So Justin's going to tell us all about that. There he is, Three Sheets, the Hound. Ooh, terrifying.
Yeah, just was chilling out during my downtime, doing some stress relief, indulging my vices. When leave it, and also, just also doing a bit of snooping, trying to work out who this Dalmore fellow is, who keeps who offered us some jobs, and I was coming back from that, and I've had this troublesome problem that's been following me around everywhere, which is this spiritual apparition, which calls out to me, and it's been following me ever since we first encountered it on the rooftops of Duskville. I stared it down, but didn't seem to work, and basically it came at me. I jumped into the river, and only narrowly avoided serious harm.
Spirit-related
jeopardy.
Absolutely. And I think I don't think there was a huge amount to talk about from other people's downtime. I think most people just kind of did stress relief and maybe worked on a couple of projects. The Keepers have got a couple of projects on the go. Like you said, trying to find out specifically, I think, who Dolmore's employer is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
also, there is a project to find out some more information about Steiner, the master assassin who has plagued Three Sheets for some time now. There was also completion of another project, which was to find a new contact within the Grinders gang, which you found, a guy called Cersei. That's Sercy, in case people are Game of Thrones confused about that. And yeah, so you've got a new contact to get jobs from now. So that's good. Let's bring on our second player, who is Sam, who plays Silver, our resident slide, kind of manipulator and con artist. And you picked up a new job. What was it, Sam?
We had heard kind of rumors about a job from Valeris, who I think is Three Sheets' spy friend guy. So we went to meet him. He was somewhat strangely in kind of a goat pen. I don't know why, but that's where he was. It's where spies hang out, I guess. We all had some different reactions to the goats, but we soldiered on, talked to the guy a bit, and basically he had heard that the billhooks, who we really hate, have some kind of deal going on where they are paying a magistrate to try and reduce the sentence or get released their leader, who is currently in, I think it's Iron Hook prison, maybe.
That's right.
The leader called Tarvel, and basically he knew where the kind of drop off of this money was taking place and roughly when it was happening, and thought that perhaps we'd be interested in trying to get a hold of this money somehow, which would both get us a bit of money, annoy the billhooks, and kind of thwart their plans of getting their leader out. So we pretty much went with that. It seemed like a good plan, and that's what we decided to do.
Absolutely, and what a plan it became. So to talk about the plan and like how it kicked off, let's bring on our third player, John. John plays Bricks, the keeper's resident cutter. Definitely not just a thug.
Of course not.
So the first part of this job, in fact, the whole of it didn't really bring in your thugly skills. What's the plan, John, and how did it start to go?
Well, I contributed by being big and intimidating slightly. It all started with a little bit of scoping out of the magistrate's assistant and figuring out who she is, which was valiantly done by Three Sheets, with Bricks as a bit of a distraction. But she saw Three Sheets and had him pegged as some sort of miscreant. So when we disguised ourselves as billhooks and approached her in the middle of the street, Three Sheets managed to turn that to our advantage and say, "Oh, we were following you because we've heard this gang of ne'er-do-wells called the Keepers are trying to kill you, and you can't go to the meeting." And she believed us.
With, I believe, our series of Blazing the Dark's first critical success from Three Sheets.
Very well done.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to say, I think your description of that you were disguised as billhooks is fair. I don't remember you actually dressing as billhooks.
I think we agreed that to dress as a billhook, one simply needs to slightly change. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah,
slightly change the attire that we were already wearing, so it wasn't really
fair enough.
Something like that.
Fair enough. But yeah, the magistrate believed your deception, and therefore, or the magistrate's assistant rather, therefore she is not on her way to the train station, or the Electro rail station, I should probably call it Gaddock rail station, in order to meet the billhooks, which left the other two of your party, Silver and our the fourth member of the Keepers, Echo, who's played by Pierre, who is now going to tell us just how well it all went at the station, meeting those billhooks and getting the money off them, while disguised as a magistrate's assistant.
Yes, so Silver had put on a fantastic disguise with her silver cloak, and we were at the location. Everything was extremely smooth, but we were wondering where the hell these billhooks were, because it was the right time and everything. And then we realized that I had earlier scouted the wrong platform, and we ran basically as fast as we could. Silver still trying to pretend as best she could that she was this magistrate, over to the correct platform. I managed to like sneak around the side, totally unseen. Silver managed to distract them from my presence. Everything was going flawlessly. They believed Silver was the magistrate. They are like, I think they're in the process of handing over the huge amount of cash that they're bribing, we assume, the magistrate with, when I heard a familiar voice from behind me, which was Decker, our anarchist contact, who very loudly clapped me on the shoulder and sort of said, "Oh, hello! Congratulations! Oh, what pleasure to see the keepers in the station." And yeah, I think we cut to black at that point. Probably a look of vague horror on Echo's face.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good description of of ourselves up to date. So let's pick up exactly where we left off, and I think we need to throw this to a roll to both of you. Of how you react to the situation. Now, to lay the groundwork, definitely the two bill hooks you've been talking to, kind of the larger guy with the sort of mutton chop mustache, and the smaller, slightly more squirrely guy, but both of them quite heavy set. They're definitely still talking to you, Silver, but the guy at the back, the larger one, has kind of started to peer over to the noise behind you from a loud, aggressive individual talking to Echo. And you heard every word of this, and you recognize Decker's voice as well. So there's maybe something to be done about that. As far as you go, Echo, perhaps you want to make a roll to diffuse or move this situation away or whatever. But you know what? We'll roll to see who. Pierre, you put together a roll first for me. So, what do you want to roll for this, and how are you going to try and diffuse this?
So my initial idea is, as soon as I hear Decker starting to make a load of noise, I am like, he's about to blow my cover. So I think I'm going to try and drink a silence potion vial that I brought along just for such an occasion, which creates an area of silence of 10 feet in a 10 feet radius around me. So I'm hoping to immediately muffle any noises that are being made, and I think I'm going to try and sort of guide Decker as best I can out, away, out of line of sight of these billhooks who are especially interested in us. And for that, that sort of, to me, it seems like it doesn't really seem like finesse or prowl or survey or wreck. So my closest stat, I think, is something like sway. I suppose I could also try and... Well, actually, I can't talk because the silence.
Yeah. I mean, you could try and, do it sort of via physical
yeah.
motion.
So if I was just tackling Dalmor out of the path of, trying to physically shunt him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Decker. Out of line of sight. Is that... I mean, I guess that
would be skirmish.
Skirmish, yeah, probably. It's not wreck, because that would be destroying his face.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it would also be skirmish, but
yeah.
Okay. Sure. Can I ask you if you think a zone of dead silence erupting nearby would be helpful or distract or draw more attention?
I'm not sure. I think this is more like I think it could well be unhelpful, but
sure.
I think my instinct is definitely stop him saying something else that could
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, your silence potion value, you get that for free, huh? That's a 0 load work item, so that's pretty swish. Sure. So did you settle on skirmish as you're literally trying to kind of
push him out of the way,
push him or yank him over to away to
yeah.
Okay.
And I think at the same time I'm going to sort of like be like, I'll grab him by the like lapels and kind of like put my finger over my mouth, you know.
I mean, it is Decker, so by lapels, do you mean his pectoral muscles?
Oh yes, of course, he's shirtless.
Always
Okay.
shirtless.
This is
Shirtless,
not going
long, rambling beard, cut as fuck, just linen trousers and nothing else.
You like Decker too much.
I like Decker a lot.
Okay, I'll try a skirmish against this, I guess, to push him out of the way.
Okay. He's got a couple of companions with him, and I think I've successfully got over the kind of guy Decker is so far. I'm going to say this is a desperate roll. I think it's got standard effect, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I have the special ability Daredevil, when I roll a desperate action, I can choose to get 1 dice to my roll if I also take -1 dice to any resistance rolls against consequences.
Okay.
So because I think this is important, I'm going to take an extra dice. So going from 0 to 1.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Uh,
I'm. You know what? I'm not going to offer. Yeah, I'm gonna offer you a devil's bargain for this.
Oh no!
For an extra die if you want. I don't think you can get any assistance.
No, not really.
I am going to offer you a devil's bargain, and I'm going to say that it's going to start a troublesome clock if you take it.
Okay, so some sort of trouble. Oh, I sort of want this to work.
Don't have to take it.
I mean, clocks so far have not ever caused any problems. So yeah, let's take that. Let's take the extra risk.
Okay.
What's the worst that could happen? She says.
Sure.
Not being able to know what.
Okay, well, yeah, absolutely. Take an extra die then, and then make your Yeah, you get an extra die from your ability and an extra die from the Devil's Bargain. So then make your skirmish roll. Do you have a point in skirmish already?
No, I have 0 in skirmish.
Okay, so it's just going to be 2 flat dice for you now then.
Yes, it's 2 total. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 3 and a 1, which is a fail.
Oh no!
And I have a -1 dice to the resistance if I want to.
Well, now don't forget to take your XP for making a desperate roll, though. So that's something.
Yeah.
So I'll describe the consequences of that after we make Silver's roll. I think you have to consider both of these. So Silver, what are you doing for your part over by kind of the group?
Do I actually have this like box of money yet?
I think what I'd said is that you're both holding it. So the smaller, kind of like more wiry one is in the process of passing it to you and kind of looking very seriously at you, you know, and you're holding it. So what are you going to do to try and? I don't know what you want to do. If you want to, like, you know, explain it or distract them, or what are you going to try to do? And this is a risky situation. I'm going to say you're not desperate; it's risky. They are kind of like looking over what the noise is, but you're not sure they fully, you know, registered things yet.
I think maybe my plan would be to distance myself from whatever is happening with Echo and whoever is over there. Like, I probably I've heard Decker, so I think my idea would be to kind of look at the guy who is looking over there and say to him, "What's happening? We're not being followed, are we?"
Right? Yeah, kind of playing dumb.
Yeah, this can't get back to Lady Drake. I don't want any journalists. We need to go now. This deal has to finish now.
Okay, yeah, sure. What action roll are you using for that?
I think sway.
I think sway is definitely one of the ones I think that's a shoe-in for this one. I think that's actually really reasonable and is a good plan. So I'm going to give that great effect.
Nice.
So go ahead and make that roll. I don't think I have a devil's bargain for you. But if anyone else has one, obviously they can offer it. And I don't think, obviously, you're not getting assistance from anyone.
I'm distracting.
I'm gonna push myself because I don't want to be murdered by 3 billhooks.
You want to leave that to me?
Yeah, exactly. Echo can get murdered by 3 billhooks.
Like a churlish GM would point out that your count is off, but now that you've said it, I'm just going to adapt it. So if something kicks off, a 3rd billhook is going to come running in.
Oh, I thought there were 3. Okay.
No, there's only 2. Well, there
you
are now.
Handled 2.
There's 1 lurking.
Oh god. I rolled a 6, and a 1.
Whoa!
Wow! Critical success. So in this score, what feels like now a relatively short score, 2 critical successes. Nice. You we'll get to Pierre in a second, but you, Silver, kind of, you already did it. I think you already said what you were going to do, and they look kind of like quite troubled at the notion that like somehow it's been rumbled or something's up. And the kind of shorter, I mean, I say shorter, still fairly hefty guy kind of like shoves the box further into your hands and says, "You see that gets to the right place, and you keep to the deal." He's kind of backing away as he says that, and they both just vanish off into the kind of mass of people on this platform. Meanwhile,
I don't like this.
Echo, you tell me exactly how you tried to move Decker.
I think I just sort of planted both my feet and tried to like push him in the like solar plexus as hard as I could with both of my hands. To just get behind his center of mass and just try and shift him. Me being a small, wiry like woman who's just probably like not used to physical conflict.
So as you do so, you kind of push on Decker with your full weight, and he literally doesn't budge.
I just skip back,
even in the slightest. And he kind of wrinkles his brow, and you see in his eyes just a brief flash of absolute demented fury, and then it's gone, and he just kind of turns round, and I'd say just for the. And this is just for the sake of the GMing. I'm going to say that part of this failure is that your whoever sold you that silence potion, they clearly sold you a defective batch, because it kind of there was a deadening in the air briefly, and then it washed off. And Decker kind of turns to his compatriots and says, "This one, rowdy." And just backhands you as hard as he possibly can. Do you want to resist the harm? You get one die less for it, I believe.
Yeah. So I think I still want to try and resist it.
I would advise it. Like, harm that comes out of a failure on a desperate roll is pretty bad.
I'm trying to resist it. So is that prowess?
It will be prowess, and obviously you get 1 die less.
So ordinarily my prowess...
you will resist it. It's just how much stress does it cost you?
So ordinarily my prowess is 3, so I'm rolling 2 dice. So I got a 5 and a 1, so that's a 5.
That's
so that was
good. Yeah, that's pretty good. So just you take 1 stress, which I think is very understandable.
Yeah.
obviously when this happens, the harm doesn't necessarily go away; it's just reduced, right? But I think I can reduce it quite significantly. You're definitely knocked to the ground. And I'm going to say that you let's just put a level 1 harm on your sheet, and let's just put black eye.
Okay, so my level 1 harms are recovering from hypothermia and twisted ankle. So because I've got that filled up, I think it ticks over to a level 2.
It ticks over to a level 2. It does, and I think it's the new one that ticks up rather than another one.
Yeah.
So in that case, let's escalate what it is a bit, and let's just say I don't know, just say bruised face, right?
Okay.
He hasn't cracked. What I was going to do with if you hadn't resisted, it was basically crack your cheek.
Sure.
But instead, you've just got a kind of, your face is incredibly sore. This will make you distinctive, and it'll probably stop you kind of like, it'll hinder your eyesight quite a bit while it's there as well. So, obviously this hasn't swollen up all yet. Decker kind of stands over you as you sprawl on the platform, and kind of says over his shoulder, sometimes these smugglers, they don't know when to stop the brawling, eh? And he's kind of very much playing it off to his compatriots as kind of like that you won't have minded what he just did. This was just like, a friendly brawl between fellow anarchists, even perhaps, and that you are also a compatriot. But you saw something when you touched him, or touched him forcefully.
I think a small sort of reedy voice will say, "Won't forget." But I will just like look up with like, I don't know. I'll probably be trying to also disguise a certain amount of rage. But I'll kind of look up to see if Silver has if the score is still on.
Bill hooks are gone. No sight of them. So
okay.
It's up to, if Silver, if you want to get involved in this in any way, or
I think at least initially I would walk the opposite direction to where the bill hooks were going, just in case like something happened. But probably after a while, I'd find a place where I thought I couldn't be observed and stop and see what was going on with Echo.
I mean, the opposite direction to where the bill hooks are gone, he's towards Decker and Echo, for sure. Like it was kind of behind where you were. So you can go over near that if you want.
Yeah, if I'm convinced the bill hooks are gone, I'll go over and help Echo up.
Actually, I'll
if she wants, of course.
Actually, okay. I think if you're coming over to me, I think I'll look at you and sort of look at Decker and then kind of shake my head and try and sort of like indicate that you should like meet me outside or something, or
Okay. I think Silver would understand that and possibly just skirt around Decker, try to avoid being recognized by him, and head out to some nearby exit.
Yeah, and I'll try and like just back away. I don't think I want to tangle with. I think I'm too angry to deal with this.
Yeah. As you kind of scramble up and away, Decker's kind of hangers on. Kind of they're sort of laughing at you, but it's actually quite friendly. They're like kind of kind of like consider this to be like a great jest that you probably appreciate because you started it, sort of thing. And as you kind of round them, but they're not really moving. They're clearly, one of them is kind of looking up at the electro rail boards. They're waiting, for transport.
Yeah.
And as you walk way off into the crowd, you hear a voice kind of cutting over it, as his voice does, that says, "Still have that job if you want it." So of course, Decker has offered you. Well, yes. Decker has made it known that he has a job. So Clearly, you haven't burned any bridges, so to speak.
Okay, I think I'll sort of try and play off like a kind of like through like a face that is kind of swelling up. I'll kind of like kind of half join their laughter. I'll sort of be like,
yeah,
and then back off.
So I think that's the end of the score, folks. I think that's done. I think you guys can meet up again, presumably back at your lair at the lighthouse in Silkshore, and see what you have achieved from this. So let's start going through our downtime phase. The first thing we do is the payoff. The first thing we'll talk about is rep. So you earn 2 rep per score by default. If the target of the score is higher tier than you, they are. Then take +1 rep per higher tier. Again, I think that the bill hooks are tier 2. So that would be a total of 4 rep.
Nice.
That fills our tracker.
Boom.
Okay. So let's just go through the rest of the payoff, and let's do everything but the downtime activities first, right? And then we'll talk about whether you can kind of level up the crew in any way based on that, like the rep of it, because I'm not entirely sure how it works. So we'll look it up. Steve, can you find the page? Just the page reference will do for like how like leveling up rep and stuff works. Thank you. So you didn't get paid by anyone for this, but what you did do is recover a lockbox, and that lockbox had 4 coin in it. So
nice.
But of course, I'm assuming we're paying the grinders.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
That's a 3-1. Echo, as ever, not in favour of that. So yeah, you have 3 coin. That I don't know how that's getting divvied up.
How much do we have in the party chest?
1. So 3 would take it up to max, and then we can divvy it out. No, divvy it out now or divvy it out next time.
It might be worth putting it in the chest because we might need it immediately if we can level up our crew.
And you can always use it you can always divvy it up if that isn't needed. Like
I think, as I understand it, I've still got two space for 2 coins left over. So I at the moment, well, Echo hasn't spent any of our money recently, so I guess maybe 3 sheets feels okay filling up the company stock coffers, but equally, it's walking around money.
I think I took the worst hit in this score. I think I should get a coin. You guys look very clean and tidy.
An extra coin.
How did you get that hit, Echo?
I was ambushed by Decker, of all people.
Okay, so not score related then.
It very well could have been if I hadn't intervened.
Echo, I massively appreciate what you did in intercepting Decker from interfering with the score, but you have to consider some of our coin has already gone towards paying your doctor, who can now help you with this injury that you've sustained.
Our doctor.
Towards the doctor that I believe you have been the main patient of.
Almost like I've been taking all the hits for this team.
Well, that's anyway. Maybe we all put ourselves in the line of danger.
Keep the coin.
Maybe you just need to start standing behind me, Echo.
All right.
Oh, look, Echo's not that bad. Leave off him. He's taken it. He's had it hard enough on the job.
I think you'll find.
Sorry. So 3 sheets just clearly.
So are we adopting the idea here that there's a coin in there for all of you, and Echo is just going to remove theirs?
I was kind of thinking we just put it in, and maybe we'll remove it. I guess people are free to remove them if they want, aren't they? So
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's stash the cash at our hideout, and then if Echo wants to Echo's entitled to a quarter of the money, and if she wants to grab a coin in her own time, she's welcome to do so.
And I guess if Echo wants an advance on her wage, you can take it.
But just let us know, because it's company money, and you have to keep accounts on this kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on from the coin then, and detail that however you want. I don't know if Echo's taking the coin or not, or we're putting it in the stash for now.
Let's put it in the stash. I might still take it for my action.
Sure. So let's look at heat. I think that was contained, but I think there's still, you literally mentioned the keepers. There was a bit of a scene, so I think it's contained, which gives you 2 heat. But we might as well apply your downtime -1 heat that you have as your smuggler ability. So just gain 1 heat. That's it. And then let's talk about entanglements, I believe, is what comes next. So your wanted level is 1, right? Yep.
Yes.
I think so.
And your heat is 1, so that's just a roll for me. Okay. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Yes. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. I know what I'm doing for it. So, with that in mind, page 45, I think, from what Steve was saying, for the faction game, so like leveling up and stuff. Faction status. No, that's not development. Here we go. You need 12 rep to fill a rep tracker on your crew sheet. When you fill the tracker, do one of the following. If your hold is weak, it becomes strong. Reset your rep to 0. Or if your hold is strong, you can pay to increase your crew tier by 1. So your what is your tier?
Strong. No, our tier is 0.
Your tier is 0 and your hold is strong, right?
Cool.
So if your hold is strong, you can pay to increase your crew tier by 1. This costs coin equal to your new tier times 8.
Oh.
We need bigger scores.
As long as your rep, or not to spend it.
Yeah, that's true.
As long as your rep tracker is full, you don't earn new rep. Once you pay and increase your tier, reset your rep to 0 and reduce your hold to weak. So you need 8 coin in total. Obviously, you can only stash 4 coin.
So we have to use our coin that we have. So we're going to tier 1, so it would cost
increase your vault. So,
yeah. I have 1 coin.
I also have 1 coin.
How much do you guys have?
I have 2 coins. I'd be willing to put 1 in.
Ooh, so it could be done. It could be done.
And when we go up in tier, a lot of things improve, don't they?
I don't think anything mechanical improves.
I think we can get a bigger group of people. Is that right? We can get more rovers.
Do our rovers increase in size?
Oh yeah, I think your rovers are always the same tier as you. So yeah, your rovers group would get bigger.
We'd be taking on staff.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning towards. I think we're still just a little bit fresh-faced to be tearing up. I think we've got a few more jobs in us.
Yeah, I think like one of the things about repping up is it's not really. You use your tier rating to roll dice when you acquire an asset. Yeah. As well as for any fortune roll for which your crew's overall power level and influence is the primary trait. Most importantly, your tier determines the quality level of your items, as well as the quality and scale of the gangs your crew employs, and thereby what size of enemy you can expect to handle. So yeah,
maybe also like the size of score that we might have come our way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if I'm remembering this right.
And the type of people who might consider you an enemy.
Doesn't our like tier also get affected if we end up at war with someone, which we might do possibly with the cohorts?
Something does get affected by if you're at war, and I believe it is something.
I think we should go for it. I think
that would be spending so much money, but fair enough.
I think we need to become bigger fish. I think that we've been doing these small scores and getting taxed by the grinders.
We'd still be getting taxed by the grinders.
Still be getting taxed by the grinders.
Yeah, but that's not our long-term plan, right? Remember when we first laid this out? We didn't become a crew just to swim around in the shallows.
I have something on the crew sheet to check. There's a note under the coin section that says, upon crew advance, each player character gets +1 stash, +2 per tier.
Okay.
Is that when our tier goes up? Is that when we level up? Is that in the book anywhere?
I don't know. Is the
that's fair enough.
I think that's a crew. That sounds like a crew level up thing. But if we can, Steve, you okay to find that out? Yeah. Yeah.
Because depending on whether that applies, we might have more money than we think we do.
What's the opinion? 3 sheets is against leveling
only
up
if you
just
withdraw
yet.
stuff from your stash.
It's true.
So if it's stashed, it reduces when you withdraw it. But yeah,
I think we should do it.
Echo thinks we should do it.
And Bricks?
Bricks has no immediate use for this 1 coin that he's got, so he would say go for it.
Fair enough. Let's do it.
Okay.
Exciting. Yeah, so when you're at war, I found 2 things. First off, when you're at war, you only get 1 downtime activity per downtime phase. And also, when you're at war, you temporarily lose 1 hold, which would mean that if you go to war now, you're tier 0 again. That's strong. When you're out of that, it pops you back up again. But yeah, that's how it works.
So they're like suppressing your influence because you're focused.
Because you're so busy, fighting someone else. Okay, it sounds like we're going for it then. So I'm assuming what's happening is we're spending all 4 of the crew's sort of coin.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, are we each spending 1 coin?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I I touch my face and it like really hurts, and then I reach in with my bloodied hand and I take out my part of this stash.
Okay, so John, please advance yourself to tier 1, and the hold is now weak.
Right.
So what this means, you can also, I think, under your cohort entry, I don't know if the scale goes up, but quality certainly goes up by 1. Yeah. And then for all like fortune rolls and what Steve was put up, yeah, fortune rolls, quality level of your items, and as well as the quality and scale of the cohort, yeah, and also rolling dice when you acquire an asset. So it's all quite a lot better now, but still, yeah. How do we think this is represented? Obviously, maybe you ask your cohort members Odgar and Nicholas to take on some more hands.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the kind of thing that happens?
Yeah, I think maybe we're making use of Decker's connections to do a bit to kind of like get more general smuggling going on. And we've also got the doctor who we're doing some work for now. Probably we've got our crew regularly supplying bits and bobs to them. So there's a few operations going, and also maybe we're a bit concerned about the bill hooks, and so we're getting a few goons around to
Sure,
to look menacing.
Yeah.
To kind of keep things at bay. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is more than reasonable. So let's look, I guess, at. Oh, actually, did we get an answer on what was it someone said about gaining stash when you advance?
There's just a note on the crew sheet. Upon crew advance, each player character gets +1 stash, +2 per tier.
What?
Yeah.
It's +1 stash, +2 per tier. What? So not +1.
So it's
that's very confusing.
+1 if you're tier 0, and presumably +3 if you're tier 1, and so on and so forth. But it's
Right.
like, when does it happen?
Every time the crew advances, each PC gets stash equal to the crew tier +1, +2 to represent profits generated by the crew as they've been operating.
Okay.
Page 49. So this crew advance, is that when you level up rather than when you tier up, right? Yeah, it is. So I guess we didn't do that.
Did we level up before, or did we just start as strong?
You definitely leveled up because you gained the coach.
Okay.
You took like
Yeah.
So
we leveled up on tier 0 then.
Oh, there we go.
So we have 5 now.
So
is that right?
5? No. When you advance, you get stash equal to the crew tier +2. So you each get 2 stash.
Okay.
You can withdraw from your stash because I believe each stash represents 2 coin, i.e. it costs 2 coin to gain a point of stash. But when you take it out of the stash, it reduces to 1. But still, you could, you got that for free, I guess. So there's no, I don't know.
So does this only happen when we go up a tier, not when we increase our hold?
No, it goes up when your crew advances. So this should have been done last week.
But
when you leveled up the crew.
Oh, and is what we're doing now not advancing? This is something
this
else.
is
okay.
Whatever it is, rep and tier and stuff.
Right, that makes sense.
So this is less us making profits, more us getting more influence and spending cash to upgrade our various items.
Absolutely, that's the idea, I think. Mm-hmm. So, let's move forward to the downtime activities, I believe. Yes. So, because we rolled the entanglement, so I'm just going to roll as usual, and we're going to go around the group and see what we do on our downtime activities. So first off, we have John.
Ooh, can I defer? Just mess with everything.
Defer is not an action.
I'm definitely going to indulge my vice as the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I want to buy some luxurious gift for Nirix just as a thank you for getting us a job, putting us in touch with Dalmor.
Yeah,
seems like something I might
do. Seems perfectly reasonable. In that case, yeah. So are you getting some kind of gift from your usual? The Dundridge and Sons, the fine fabrics and tailoring of Night Market.
Yeah, that seems appropriate. I'm not sure anything they have that looks good.
Absolutely.
So I roll my weakest, don't I? Which is prowess.
Mm-hmm.
And I get 1.
There you go. Turns out it's not as stress relieving to buy things for other people as it is to indulge in a bit of retail therapy for yourself. Still, Nirix liked it, so
That's
there
good.
we go. let's go for what am I doing here? That's the wrong die. John?
I am going to go down to the boxing ring and do some training and throw a few rounds with Marlene.
Bit of training there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, you go to the boxing ring and you do some training with Marlene, who is indeed there. Doesn't really have any, she's still slightly recovering from being pulled in by the bluecoats, but seems no worse for wear as you trade blows until you feel that you've learned a couple of tricks. Even as good a brawler as you are. So mark 1 XP on an attribute or playbook advancement. Don't we have a...
We have a crew advancement, so that if I put it in prowess, then we get an extra experience point. Or I get an extra experience point.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing.
So 2 XP for you on prowess. Lovely. Pierre?
So... yeah, I think I actually, my first thing is just going to be concerned with my face. I am going to go and recover. It's not realistic for me to want to indulge my vice yet, because that, I don't know, that's also something I want to do. But
yeah,
right now I am kind of stinging, so I would like to try and recover.
Cool. So this is where we should bring in the quality level of the NPC. So up until now, I didn't really know what that meant. So I was just like, oh, how good they are. But clearly, that's what the tier is meant to be. So you get 1 die to roll, friend. Have you already got some progress on your healing tracker?
Nope.
Okay, because you got it last time. So now you're starting fresh. Yep.
I rolled a 4.
Okay, so that's 2 segments.
2 segments. I'm about halfway. So
are you going to? Did we agree that the Physica that you encountered in the first score and a couple of times since is called Red Silks, I believe?
Yeah.
They treat you, and they kind of, you hear almost for the first time, maybe you hear them actually make some noises as you hear a kind of tutting whistle as they examine the slight mess that Decker has made of your face and apply some unguents and salves that
I think as they apply some of these stinging alcohol to my eye, my vision goes double for a second, and one half definitely sees red silks and the other half sees something else entirely. Something very freaky, and I am I sort of wince and pull back, but then it's gone.
Sure. That's Pierre trying to get an XP for Haunted before the session's up right there.
Really?
So, but
I don't think that would count.
I don't know if it's up to you if it counts. Yeah, absolutely. Justin's asked, what's the thing about training prowess? Basically, I mean, John can probably explain it, but when you started, you picked, I don't know if you picked or already had.
We picked it.
Yeah, a training bonus, which means if you train in as a downtime activity in prowess, you get 2 XP instead of 1. Cool. That's basically how that works. And speaking of that, we are on to Justin. So what are you going to do?
I'm considering indulging my vice, but I've got 4 stress, and I'm going to be rolling 2 dice, so I'm kind of very at risk of overindulging, I think.
Yeah.
What's our heat?
1, I think.
1.
I'm going to indulge my vice.
Fair enough. And I assume you're going to the Red Lantern and getting involved in those hideous opium pits. Yeah, go for it. So your lowest attribute, please.
I overindulge.
You overindulge. A 5 or a 6, just out of interest.
It was a 6.
It was a 6. There we go.
Do you have to choose, if you're rolling multiple dice, do you have to choose the highest one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
clear
there's
stress
part-
equal to the highest die result.
Yeah, there's part. I'm very much there's part of the 3 sheets that wants to overindulge. So
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
And so I think one of the things that I can choose is a gaining heat from bragging about
yes,
things.
from bragging about it. I was about to suggest that as well. Seems a decent. If your heat's so low already, yeah.
Not to
seems
just
like-
to game it, but
No.
Yeah.
I think that's valid. And just to make sure you know that even things that seem like they may be gaming it aren't necessarily great. Just don't mind me as I just make a
no worries.
roll to see if that affects a certain clock I've got running. Oh, it does. Look at that.
Uh-oh.
Clocks are always good. Clocks are always good.
Always good. Always good. Yep, absolutely. So let's obviously, I think, as it's freshest on your mind, clearly in the chambers deep beneath the Red Lantern, you are there lolling and rolling and expounding at length, uncharacteristically for 3 sheets. I think it's safe to say, at least when you're not in the middle of an opium stupor.
The score was so good, and we got one over on the bill hooks of all people.
Yeah. Absolutely, and therefore, they fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Those,
and then I said,
"Bill, hook, line, and sinker."
And then I said, "It was the keepers."
The last laugh. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
The
you
fools.
spread that around. So that's +2 heat, and I also added a couple of ticks to a clock.
Great.
So with that in mind, let's go back again. We've got a final downtime activity for everyone, and the first person with that is Justin.
I would like to. What can heat get up to?
So the various downtime activities. If you've got
what's the cap for heat? When does it tick over for another level of wanted? Is it 7?
John, 9.
9, I think.
Okay, we've got loads of time then. In which case, someone else can reduce heat. I'm going to go and do one of my long-term projects, and I think I'm going to do trying to find out more about the employer of Dalmore. I think that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And what action roll are you making for this?
I think I'm going to do. So we found out he was a regular client, hadn't we? So I might try and consort with some of the brothel like staff again, the sex workers, and or just like whoever else is there. It might be some other workers at the brothel, and
absolutely.
There's
like
exactly.
There's cooks and kind of servants and bouncers and a great panoply of people at the Red Lantern. So yeah, you can maybe try and work those angles. So go ahead and make your roll for me.
I rolled a 1.
Okay, I mean that's still one segment.
Cool.
So John, for that project, can you add another tick? And while we're doing that, I'm going to bring your entanglement on board here. So let's just have let's see. Ooh, that was a very lucky roll, guys. That was an extremely lucky roll. As you give me a scene here, Justin. Where are you in the Red Lantern? Who are you talking to?
I am sitting with one of the cook's boys, who is chopping potatoes or peeling potatoes in the alley behind the inn, peeling the spuds skins into the river.
Sure, absolutely. Just kind of while this kid's kind of working, trying to kind of like subtly get some information on who he's seen around the place, if he's trying to work your way around to that, because he's a distinctive guy, right? He's got no color in the irises of his eyes, and maybe talking about this guy while you're doing that and getting. You've had a little bit of luck today, but not a huge amount. Just kind of vague ideas of like where people think Dalmor might work or something like that, but nothing really too clear.
This place isn't the place to get clues. I think 2 weeks in a row, nothing.
You might have to start looking for him and his workings in other ways. But as you do so, you hear a familiar whistling. Sort of jaunty whistling that gives over the sense of cockiness just by the sort of pitch of it. And Valeris, your friend, very handsome man in a thick greatcoat, walks into that side alley, kind of like flicking his curtain hair back as he does so. The kid kind of watches him approach. He reaches into the greatcoat, flips a small coin towards the kid and goes, "Go on, fuck off for a few minutes." And the kind of cook's boy shrugs, dumps the potatoes right on the cobbles, and walks off into the Red Lantern. Valeris kind of thrusts his hands into his pockets and says, "Bit of a surprise. Turns out the Billhooks might have some friends in the Bluecoats. Because they knew I had that information, and they knew something went wrong with the deal, so they pulled me in."
Shit.
Lucky for you, I'm a charming fellow.
Sorry about that, Valeris.
No harm, no foul. I can handle Bluecoat attention. Just be careful. Odd that butchers like those have friends in the ranks, especially considering the riot from a few weeks ago, yes?
Yeah.
Worth thinking about. He starts whistling again, kind of turns on his heel and strides into the Red Lantern behind the cook's assistant.
Cool.
There we go. So that was your entanglement, by the way, but he had a very good fortune roll on what happened.
Flip. Or...
He didn't flip, and he didn't get the shit kicked out of him. So
good.
There is also an option to pay Bluecoats off with a coin, but it's a weird thing to ask before the It's weird. I'll always give you the option, but it might involve a bit of retconning in the same way that the flashbacks sometimes involve a bit of retconning. But that's fine. So next downtime activity for Pierre.
Okay. I think I am going to go to Traven's smoke shop, and I think I need one of the meditative mask sessions.
Is that like a medicated mask?
Yeah, I imagine all of the masks look exactly like Traven's mask.
And that blank sort of.
And you go in it to forget.
As it's like soaked with medication, and it just kind of passes into your skin and leaves you feeling like you're floating in air. Solves all your worries. Go ahead and give me your lowest attribute rating roll, please.
Okay, so that is 1 dice. I rolled a 2.
Okay, so that's a reduction of 2 stress.
I'm still pretty stressed.
I love how our stress reduction in this seems to be either you roll 1 or 2, or you hammer it and immediately overindulge.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have overindulged because I was already on 6.
All right. Well, good. Sam, what's your next free downtime activity, please?
I'm going to stress relieve again, as I'm still on 6 after my 1 roll before.
Fair enough. Do you think it's safe to say that after going to buy your gift, you're hit by kind of the urge, maybe even the next day to just I deserve something as well.
I like to think that as I was giving it to Nerix, I was like, God, this I wish I could keep this. This is too nice.
Just want to go get the same thing. Well, what did you get, Nerix? What do you want for yourself?
It's like a tailor, isn't it? I don't know, maybe maybe a coat. Some kind of coat,
nice.
something like that.
nice, flashy, or kind of more
Definitely
stylish,
flashy.
or
Definitely flashy. And I think I'm gonna go and get one that's just like I feel is a tiny bit nicer. Like not exactly the same one, just the one that's like slightly nicer,
a bit nicer in case you and Nirix are walking on the town.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to just look just a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Why don't you give me your lowest attribute roll, please?
Okay, that's press 1 dice. Please no ones. I got a 3. Okay, more reasonable.
Not bad. So you get to reduce that stress. And I believe our only remaining free downtime activity is John.
I am going to. So it is maybe slightly backstage information, but I know that Dalmor has put out general information about a job.
Mm-hmm.
So presumably other people also know about him. So I'm going to investigate Dalmor, and the way I'm going to do this is to go into a pub that I used to frequent that was full of maybe people I used to work with, like other sailors and Leviathan hunters, and go, "Oi, everyone, tell me what you know about Dalmor." Crack knuckles.
Okay. So what action roll is that going to be?
Command.
Okay. So yeah, you're going to like a former haunt and putting just a bit of pressure on people, on the more weak-willed of your countrymen and former co-workers, because like we will get onto it, because we're actually going to do a thing where we talk more about the rumors that they follow up for scores. But there is a rumor that not only has Dalmor offered them another job, but there's rumors of another one, maybe a better paying one that he's putting out there. So you're going to go to where you've heard about these rumors and try and find a bit more about Dalmor. Go ahead. I think that's a great plan. Go ahead and give me that roll, please.
Okay, so I'm rolling 2 and I roll a 6.
Okay, add 3 segments to that.
Nice.
To the find out more about Dalmor clock there. What's it on now, John?
It is on 5.
5 out of 8, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? You find out quite a bit. You find out that Dalmor, not only, he's quite frequently seen around the docks, which seems a bit odd for a man of his kind of very obvious wealth. And also kind of like flashy wealth. You'd expect someone who walks around the docks with a fancy cane and like very nice clothes to perhaps end up face down in a canal sooner rather than later. But clearly that's not the case. Also, it's worth noting he's kind of come out of nowhere. Kind of no one quite knows where he's from. No one really knows who he's working for, but clearly whoever is backing him has considerable resources, because there have been quite a few jobs done for him recently and they all seem to pay very well. So there you go. There's some information about Dalmor. So that marks the end of our free downtime activities. Is anyone going to purchase further downtime activities with, I believe you can do it with coin or rep? Yes. That's actually an interesting point, isn't it? Sorry, before I ask whether people are buying them, because if you had a full rep tracker but hadn't spent the coin to level up your tier yet, you could essentially go, okay, well, we get a guaranteed 2 rep from every score we do, so let's just take an extra 2 downtime activities, because it's free activities for rep, right? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And also is kind of a reward for maxing out your rep tracker, but not having the coin to...
Yeah, still some benefit to it.
There's still some benefit. That being said, is anyone taking any extra downtime activities for coin? Because you don't have any rep.
I have no coin.
You do if you pull it out of your stash.
We used, I think, all of the stuff. Oh, yes, I see, of my personal stash.
The stash you got from
you got a pawn to your belongings.
Crew Advance, and you can cash in stash for on a 1-to-1 basis. Oh no, sorry, for every 2 stash removed, you get 1 coin.
All of Silver Stash is drapes.
Just 1,000 drapes piled.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I think I need to.
do you need to heal?
Well, okay. So in order to heal, I need a 4, I think, because it's half rounded down. Or is it half?
No,
rounded?
I mean it might be. I just look at what it equals. 1 to 3 is 1 segment. 4 or 5 is 2, and 6 is 3, and a critical is 5.
Yeah. So it's like I would need a 4 or a 5 or a 6. So 50-50 of.
So,
I mean, you would still make progress.
Yeah, it's just I've earned this. I need to.
Are you gonna try and pull some out of your stash? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
What about if I offered you a devil's bargain? That if I pay you 1 coin today,
Yeah,
in the future you pay him back 2 coins.
It's not devil's bargain. That's a
that's
scam.
a bargain with 3 sheets.
That's a bargain with
loan
3 sheets.
shark.
Well, hey, look, I'm not a nice person.
No. Yeah,
I think I would take that in a second. I think I
Cool.
would be like, absolutely.
Right.
You can trust me.
Yeah. I'm gonna pay for you to go visit the doctors then.
Thank you.
As Steve has pointed out, you can also take extra dice on rolls if a friend or a contact helps you, but I don't think we particularly had any of that. And after the roll, you can spend coin to improve the result level, but no one had the coin to burn, I don't think. And that I don't think that counts for vices. I think that just counts because vices are in a different section. Yeah, and also improve. They don't have result levels; they just have the raw number. So
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so okay, Echo is taking a loan from 3 sheets. Can you both note that down somewhere, just so we don't forget that in your notes section? And Echo, you're taking that extra coin to Red Silks and getting some more of that sweet unguent plastered all over your face.
Yeah. Okay, I'm rolling. 5. Okay.
Hey, there we go. So whatever Red Silk has in their little pots of oddly sweet-smelling salve, it seems to be doing the trick. So you can remove entirely those bottom 2 harms that you have, the tier 1 harms. They go away, and also get rid of the bruised face and just put black eye on the bottom tier. Great result, right? Definitely worth it.
It does tick over, right?
I
think healing.
It does, but didn't you just get 2 segments and already had 2?
Oh yeah, because a 6 is 3 segments. Yeah,
correct.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it would have, if you'd rolled a 6, then you would already have a healing of 1 on your next one. I think I'd have to reread it, but I think it doesn't make sense to allow it to roll over if that removes all your harm. I think that would be weird. But
if you're still working on your
if you still have harm after it, then
of course I am, because
you've got that black eye now, right? So, but a lot better than what it was, right? So
yeah, I think I get back and I say thanks, 3 sheets. You didn't have to do
that. 3 sheets is just like, that's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry about when you've got it, when you're ready. Cleaning his pistol.
My fine pair of pistols.
Your fine pair of pistols, absolutely. So with that in mind, we can just if we really quickly just nail the XP now, because I'm aware of how long these bits take. So I believe the advancement section is here. So let's deal with your personal XP first. So obviously you've already got all your desperate rolls noted down. And then it's entirely up to you guys how this works, but I'll just very quickly go over it again. And you have 3 XP triggers. In each one, mark 1 XP if it happened at all, or 2 XP if it happened a lot. And you can mark those, mix and match and mark those in whatever XP trackers you want. Yeah. And that will be, firstly, your playbook specific XP trigger. Second, if you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. And third, if you struggled with issues from your vice or trauma. And I'll let you guys fill that in, and you do what you think is is valid, I think. And then once people are done with that, we'll move on to the crew advancement. Yes. Yeah. Who's done? Okay. Well, we can start talking about stuff then. So in the crew advancement, your crew specific XP trigger is essentially, did you smuggle stuff? Isn't it? It's like, did you transport things? You did not. So no. Contend with challenges above your current station. You did, although you didn't you didn't bash right into them. Right. The billhooks are bigger than you, but you didn't fight them or you were never in particular danger because of how well it went, I guess, ironically. So I'd say you get, unless people want to argue, I'd say that's a 1 XP for that, because you did tangle with the bill hooks, but not, in any horribly dangerous or extreme way. Did you bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one? You've gone up a tier. I'd say that's automatically 2.
Yeah. Nice.
Did you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew? I'd say what you just did was daring.
It was.
I also think screwing the bill hooks.
Yes. Part of our key mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
you know what? I'm happy with that being 2 then. 1 for each.
Cool.
So that's 5 in total. I think that's the most XP we've had for the crew in one score, and easily the shortest score we've had. So just goes to show. Yeah. So how's the crew XP tracker looking there, John?
It's on 5 out of 8 because we leveled up before the score.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So with that in mind, folks, did anyone level up in stuff? Did anyone take extra things?
I have enough XP to get a new thing because I've been putting it all in playbook, but I'm not sure what I want yet. So maybe I'll leave it until after this score, or at least the end of the session. I'll have a think about it.
Take it mid-score when it's exactly what you need.
Nope, don't do that. Okay, let's talk then about the scores that you've got available to you folks. So just to unleash a bit of sort of behind the scenes stuff. What I should have is I should have a screen that I can share with people that just shows the rumors I've given you and not like all the additional details of my planning of stuff. But unfortunately, I do not have that. Maybe I'll get that worked up for next time if I remember. But in the meantime, how this works essentially is every week, what I do is I sling a list of kind of leads and rumors and score hooks out at the guys, and they pick from them as to which ones they're interested in. And we've just basically put in this new system where like a number of them will be selected and then we'll come to the table in live here for them to discuss which one to take. Not all of them, because some of them are triggered by like clocks happening and various things happening in the city. So there tend to be quite a few of them, and I don't want to prep every single one before we decide on a score. But for tonight, we've narrowed it down to 4. So we're going to talk about what the rumors they've heard are, and then as a group in character, they're going to talk about it and decide on which score to take, and then we'll start the score prep, the engagement roll, and then we're up and running. So with that in mind, the 4 scores that they have talked about taking are Valeris, 3 Sheets spy friend, who we saw a few scenes ago, says that some Skovlander refugees of his acquaintance are looking for a crew to take a journey out to the Deathlands. So that's one of them, and that's actually been there for a couple of weeks now. The next one is your new acquaintance Cersei, that's your new contact in the Grinders, has said that if you're serious about getting tight with the Grinders, then you'll need to get your hands dirty for them, and hinted that whatever it was, it would certainly ruin the Bluecoats' day. And then we've got a kind of double whammy of Dolmore-related scores. Dolmore, the guy who sent you to 6 Towers in order to kick the Greycoats out of their turf there. So the first one is that Dolmore sent your payment to you just fine, along with a note congratulating you and offering you some more work that may be more in your particular wheelhouse. And the second one related to him is that word on the docks is that some fixer called Dalmor is putting out feelers about a very well-paid job for a highly professional crew that needs doing lickety-split. Wonder why he didn't come to you first. So, these are the 4 leads you have. First off, Valeris, something about some Skovlander refugees need to get into the Deathlands. That's a thing you could do. The next one, Cersei wants you to do a job for the Grinders that involves getting at the Bluecoats in some way. Dalmor is, when he paid you, he offered another job that's kind of more up your alley than the last one. And the other one is you've heard that Dalmor is touting out for another different job that apparently pays very well, but he hasn't contacted you about it yet. So let's have and do you think this would be a conversation happening in your lair, in the lighthouse? Lightning barrier crackling loudly nearby. It's a windy, rain-soaked night. It's maybe pattering on the roof. I think the lighthouse probably doesn't have windows left. I think you've maybe put dry skins over it so that the rain is hammering on that like a drum. You can hear a couple of your new recruits being put through their paces by your existing rovers down below. What that mainly means is that Nicholas is beating the crap out of them.
It's good for the character.
Absolutely. So go ahead, take it. Keepers, decide where you're going next.
I feel like we're losing our sight of things at the moment. We haven't smuggled any serious contraband in. God, how long now?
A while. I don't know. What are you proposing?
Let's stick to what we're good at, and the Bluecoats are already sniffing around us like no one's business.
So your plan is that we should antagonize them a bit more. I don't know. I've been to the Deathlands before. That's not a place that people should be. I don't know if I think we should take the Skovlander refugees. I know it's uncharacteristic of me, and maybe it won't earn the most cash, but might get us a bit of reputation.
You just said people shouldn't go to the Deathlands.
No, I said people shouldn't be in the Deathlands.
Well, that's where they want us to take them.
We're people. I don't want to be in the Deathlands.
Barely.
I thought we...
Frankly, Duskwall is perfectly dangerous enough, let alone somewhere so dangerous it has to be separated by lightning from this city. I think it's beyond my understanding or expertise, but I'd much rather take something within the barriers. At least then we know what we're getting into.
Right.
Unless Valeris is also offering us a boat, I'm not sure our craft can go out there. Probably.
It can definitely go along the coast.
Okay.
I understand that perhaps we want to get back to doing some smuggling. It is, as Threesheet says, what we're good at, what got us this far. Perhaps I can't help but think that Dalmor, he's a well-connected man, and he could take us places if we are able to prove ourselves to him. Perhaps the simpler job that he's offered us could be a way to prove ourselves. Likely it's something smuggling related. He knows that's what we do. It could be the best of both worlds.
My only reservation is that his other job needs to be done quickly. It's not going to stick around. So if we don't, this could be our only opportunity to find out what really motivates Dalmor or his employer.
For my part, I would be happy to try and get that other job, but as you mentioned that you wanted to smuggle.
In the just in the interests of clarity and transparency, I will say that while you can choose to go to Dalmor and do a score, I will say it's not guaranteed that you'll get the high-paying one.
Yeah.
That's all. But it's not going to happen either.
I think
you're going to have to do some persuading or work him in some way to get the higher paying one before the entry level one. That's all.
I think the higher paying one might be a test. I think he may have heard how that last one went and be disappointed in us for letting the grey coat get out of there. And therefore he doesn't trust us with his real job. He just wants us to do the simple menial things that he thinks befits our station. He doesn't understand where we're going. I think we should go for the high paying job. I think we should show him he's wrong.
Rex.
I mean, if he didn't come to us, either he doesn't trust us, or he doesn't think we'll be good at it. And as we don't even know what it is, it's possible.
Perhaps the best idea is to talk to Dalmor, see if he'll give us some indication of what this other job is.
Yeah.
And to only accept it if we truly believe we'll be able to do it well. I think if we take that job and don't do it to his standards, that may be the end of our opportunities with Dalmor, which it's probably worse than simply taking a slightly lesser job for now.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
We'll never find out where he stashes all his jewels.
So it seems like we're reaching consensus here. So the idea is, and it seems like you're going to it with that expectation, which is good because that's what's going to happen. So what we're saying is you're going to Dalmor and we'll talk to Dalmor, and after that you'll be doing a score. But whether it's the big one or the maybe smaller one, that kind of depends on how you handle things with Dalmor, right?
I'm sure it'll go great.
Or maybe he gives you the details of the big one and you're like, no, we'll just do the no, thanks. So either way, okay. Let's do that then. I think it's safe to say. Do you think, Sam, that you'd set up another meeting with Nirix at the Red Lantern? Much kind of the same thing again.
Yeah, it seemed to work for everybody. Discreet place.
Absolutely cool. All right. So there you are. You head. Obviously, it's a very quick trip from your lair, the lighthouse in Silkshore, to the Red Lantern brothel. As I think I discussed before, Silkshore is laid out with canals, even more so than other parts of Doskvol. And the Red Lantern brothel sits atop a kind of mound that rises out of the canals, and it occupies much of this sort of island in the middle of them. And as you enter and are shown in your direction by one of the many servants, you note, and definitely Silver, you clock this more than the others because obviously Nirix is your friend. You are going to a higher level than you are, a higher floor than you would normally be going to see Nirix, and you are shown into a chamber. It's a new chamber, and you know what? It's noticeably larger and a bit more well laid out. Nirix, both Nirix and Dalmor are already there. Nirix is sort of standing talking to Dalmor in front of a large, quite, not incredibly rich, but quite elaborate mirror that's been laid out. And the whole room has the vibe of a sort of fancier boudoir rather than quite a functional bedroom as it was before. You note that she is in fact wearing the coat that you bought for her, Silver, and she's talking to Dalmor, and kind of Nirix is quite a rough and tumble sort of wildish woman in kind of occupying a space between her youth and her middle years. But she's got a kind of an odd look on her face you've not seen before, Silver, almost maybe devotional. Certainly, she seems to be looking at Dalmor with a quite sort of a sense of wonderment and maybe some adoration. And Dalmor is kind of talking to her quietly. He has kind of her chin in kind of one hand, just tilting her face up to look at him. Dalmor, a slight, somewhat effete individual in very fancy clothes. He has that walking cane that has the lantern on the top of it, quite a sign of someone who has money to burn, and it's leant against one wall. And you can see that his fingers have some kind of silver and bronze rings on them with small precious stones set in them. Again, not incredibly ostentatious, but certainly nothing to sniff at either. And he turns to you. He has kind of shoulder length, slightly curled and oiled dark hair, and he smiles as he looks at you. And again, you register the oddness of those eyes, completely without iris color, but no seeming problem in seeing you in any way whatsoever. And he gestures at a couple of sort of shay-long and large couches that are on one side of the room and says, "Ah, the keepers, please take a seat."
I will sit down. Very kind. It's a pleasure to meet you again. I hope things have been going well since our last meeting.
Oh, yes, getting by. He brushes some fluff off the lapel of his rather fancy jacket, and sort of wheels around in front of you, sort of smiles at Nirix and gestures her over to a rather comfortable-looking sort of study chair, and turns and almost kind of clicks his heels together and puts his hands behind his back and says, "So, rather successful expedition out into Six Towers, I thought, and hopefully the payment was reasonable and reached you to your satisfaction."
Absolutely, I think the job went well, and yes, we received payment with no issues whatsoever. It was a very pleasant escapade from our side. I hope you were just as satisfied as we were.
Oh yes, well, as we said, the parameters were very slight. Obviously, we were slightly, I would say, amused by your rather extreme solution to the matter, but honestly, not a problem for us whatsoever. Relatively little loss of life, and therefore relatively little attention paid. No one is going to miss one little old tobacconist. Yes.
No, of course not. And as long as it doesn't get too big for us as well, if we can keep the disruption to a minimum, it seems to work for everybody.
Absolutely. I presume, since you asked for this appointment, that we are here to discuss the matter that I had that may be in your area of expertise.
That is correct. We have also heard through our extensive network of contacts along the docks of some other job that you perhaps had need of carrying out. We were curious about it, but I mean, we're happy to hear what you have to say on the matter.
My word does get around the docks, doesn't it? This other matter, I am aware that your organization is on the rise, and I do not by any means mean to impugn your character or your abilities. I am absolutely sure that you can move things extremely quietly, infiltrate places. He glances at Bricks. Visit harm upon individuals to your heart's content. This is a job for a extremely adept crew. I could discuss this with you, but you must understand. I feel like perhaps we need to trust each other more before we reach that point.
Well, I do understand. Of course, everyone has jobs that they need done to very exacting specifications. But I think from our perspective as well, we would not want to take on a job which we felt we could not properly carry out and leave everybody satisfied at the end. So our idea coming here today was simply to perhaps find out more about that job and discuss amongst ourselves whether we felt it was a job we were well suited to. Of course, we have a wide array of talents, but certainly certain things we are more specialized in than others.
Well, it is good to know that you are realistic about these matters. It is not simply a case of discussing the other job with you, I'm afraid. I would really only discuss the parameters of that particular score, as I believe folk of your professional nature refer to it, were I to be discussing it with the people who were to carry it out. Unless you have in any sense a way of convincing me that you are those individuals, I'm afraid I would only be willing to discuss the other job.
I will kind of look around the group at this point to see what people are kind of...
At any point, you can make an action roll if you want.
I think we do genuinely think like we don't want to take this job and like really fuck it up. So I would just be looking at people. Do the other people seem like they really want us to put ourselves forward, or?
I think in addition to like not wanting to take a job we can't do, Three Sheets just gets the distinct feeling that this job's probably real. One of the things that Downward doesn't want to talk about is that this job probably is going to be on a scale that we haven't really tangled with yet, and the kind of thing where once you've been told about it, you have to carry out the job because you can't just like know about it and be like, so and given that we don't know how grimy Downward is yet, do we want to be taking on that kind of job without knowing what we're getting into, and then be kind of obliged to carry it out? We are daring. Daring. You know what? I hadn't even thought about that.
I think those are all very good points, though. Yeah,
I think the thing that I would say to Dalmor is, we're able to do this job. If you want to go with some other crew that might mess it up, it's up to you. We are more than a match for any enterprise that you could throw our way.
Echo is thinking of her those
empty strings.
I'm just imagining Echo saying this with her like horrible black eye, like
like I look physically injured as I'm saying this to Dalmor.
So do you want to make an action roll for that, Pierre?
Sure.
If you're not, like, it's up to you. If you feel like Echo be saying it, but Pierre doesn't maybe really want it to happen or whatever, but you want to play Echo saying it, it's up to you. Or if you feel that Echo's really trying to like, we want this job, like, you know.
I think Echo wants this job pretty badly. Like, I think she feels insulted by the fact that we're not good enough for that, and like
sure. Well, what action roll would you like to make for this then?
Well, so if I'm on my own, if no one else actually wants this, then...
you decide it first, and then we'll see if anyone's assisting you, I think.
Well, I was just wondering if it could be a group action. If everyone wanted it, then
it certainly could be a group action if other people wanted to do it, yeah.
But actually, I think probably there's enough split in what the group wants that it's more like not a group action. It's more like I would be going for sway.
Okay. Does anyone want to talk about that, or?
I'll help out. merely even if it's just to learn more about what this Dalmore's into. I don't like this. I don't trust this. But I'll help us get deeper into this. This like wade into the muck.
I'd be happy to help if we want to do a group role, or if it's just assistance.
Yeah.
I'll let 3 sheets. I don't think 2 people can give assistance. So.
I think any number of people. Only one character may assist a given role.
Let's do a group role led by Echo. I think that would be the best.
I mean, if people want to do that, then yeah, absolutely. If it's a group role, then I probably won't offer a devil's bargain, because I don't think that works for a group role. So for a group action, everyone makes an action roll with the same action. So that's going to be consort in this case.
Sway.
No, sway, sorry. And you count the single best result. However, Echo will take 1 stress for every person who rolls 1 to 3 as their best result.
That's going to happen.
It's all right. I have 5 stress.
And I will say this, and I know this is slightly breaking the rules, but fuck it. So this is going to be a controlled roll, obviously. And I think I'm not going to talk about like position, like effect too much or whatever. What I'm going to say is if you... here's how I think it could work, because I think that this is a very difficult thing to persuade Dalmore of. So here's what we're going to do. What I'm going to say is that if you get a group critical, so if 2 people contribute 6s, then you're going to succeed in this persuasion attempt. If you only get a 6, he will promise you the job after the other job.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And if it's like, if you don't, then you're going to have to persuade him a whole other time to get this job later on.
Or it might be gone.
Or it might be gone. Yeah. So everyone roll your sway, please.
4.
I rolled a 2.
I also rolled a 2.
Oh my god!
I have 2 dice. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Oh, my lowest was a 4.
Okay, so those are 2 4s. So
I take 2 stress, right?
I don't think you take the stress for yourself of rolling on what I could be wrong. 1 stress for every PC that roll. Or maybe you do then. Yeah. I guess we can look at that. Steve, can we get a look on that? Just if you look at group actions and see if the leader of the roll also takes a stress if they roll a 1 to 3. So you're taking either 1 or 2. Okay, so we didn't get a 6 at all, right? But we got 2 4s, and I think
We tried.
It's easy for me to think what the complication to this might be, which is essentially going to be like a success, but he's gonna. Okay, here we go. So Dalmore kind of hears your kind of impassioned plea. Why don't you describe it? You've already said stuff, Echo, but why doesn't everyone else does anyone else want to kind of contribute something, or are they just kind of nodding along and looking tough, or how are we contributing?
I'm going to say, doesn't look like you've got anyone else here to take it.
Okay. Anything from 3 sheets or Silver?
I think I've already said what I think I've already said what I would say, especially
That's
since
true.
my best result was a 2. I don't think I should give too much.
Sure.
More.
How about 3 sheets?
I guess I'll basically say that although we are smugglers, Silver can talk her way out of any situation. Echo appears out of nowhere, disappears right underneath your eyes, and I would hate to see anyone who feels they can tangle with bricks and walk away from that situation.
Dalmore kind of looks around at you all and kind of nods. His hands are out from behind his back now, and he's sort of fiddling with one slightly ruffled cuff, and sort of examining that it's tightly buttoned. And he says, "All right, I'll consider it. I tell you what. You prove yourself with this other job I have lined up. And I'm not saying you will get the big job, but I'll certainly consider you for it. How about that?
Seems fair enough for me.
All right, then. Well, interesting development. In the meantime, we have something else to consider, yes?
Yep.
Are any of you familiar with the Skovlander consulate? Do you think anyone would be? No one's a Skovlander here, are they? No.
What is it in the? If it's not in the docks, then no. It's
No,
in the docks.
it is not in the docks. Well, I'm not terribly surprised you're not familiar. It has recently moved, or rather been moved. Obviously, the majority of the other consulates and administrative facilities in Doskvol are in Charter Hall, as you well know. However, after the unpleasantness that happened for decades between the Empire and our Skovlander compatriots, or subjects, as I suppose they very much resent being called, there was a fallout after that rebellion was quashed, and the Skovland consulate is now in Crowsfoot. You know Crowsfoot as an area it's basically right next to Silkshore, kind of further into the city, and it is notorious as the playground and battlefield for a great many of Doskvol's most feared gangs. Crowsfoot is kind of the epicenter of the criminal underworld of the city, and as such a place you probably haven't dipped your toes in too much yet, because people who kind of set up shop there and go, yeah, we're the guys around here now, tend to, turn up with a throat slit in an alleyway the next morning. So that's why you haven't got involved there so far. Thank you for the map, Steve. Yes, so my client would like certain objects to be taken to the Skovland consulate surreptitiously. He would like a group such as herself to obtain access to the interior of the consulate and make your way as deep as you can within the humming cogs of bureaucracy there, and leave the packages behind you, secreted surreptitiously. Nothing dangerous.
Of course, and this is with presumably no contact with any, or no apparent contact with the people in this.
We would like perhaps violence to be kept to a minimum, although we understand the need sometimes for these things, and minor infractions would not be frowned upon. But certainly, please do not burn it down.
Of course, that is not our...
If you can find a way to do so with guile or stealth, or one or two Skovland guards wrapped tightly on the back of the head, it is a matter up to your discretion. But please, the packages left in as many different places as deep within the consulate, in as interesting as places as possible. They are no danger to anyone, least of all yourselves.
So we can shake these packages and they will not explode.
Absolutely, Echo. No, nothing of that sort whatsoever. No danger would come from anyone mistreating these items.
I sort of sit back down and cross my hands and cross my arms, and there's slight shrapnel scars on the hands.
And where will we pick up these packages?
Oh, he reaches into his pantaloons and withdraws there's basically 4 small sort of leather pouches. They're very simplistic, but they're also, they're quite well made little things. He passes them to you and says, "You may feel free to look in them. When you do leave the packages, please do not leave them within the pouches. You may take the pouches yourself. A small gift from my client to yourself."
Very,
they're not worth anything, really.
Very
they're nicely
generous of
made,
you.
but they're not worth anything. Maybe Silver quite likes them because
I'm gonna open one of the pouches.
Inside the pouch is kind of a small, around the very center of your palm sized, irregularly shaped piece of dark igneous rock. And as you tip it out onto, are you going to tip it out? Do you think you do that? He said it was no danger.
Yeah. Gonna have to touch it eventually at some point.
Tip it out onto your palm. You see that one side of it is marked with a rune, which you've never seen a marking like this before. Various sort of kind of occult oriented and kind of cultish people around the city use different markings, different scripts, different runes for various things. While you're not thoroughly embedded in that world, you have at least seen your fair share of these things daubed around the city, or marked above doorways as for good luck, or the like. You haven't seen anything quite like this before.
I shrug, put it back in the pouch, and say, "Looks nice."
Yes, they're very, very well made.
Okay. Well, I assume you've told us all that you know about entrances and exits to this place.
In that I have told you nothing at all, which is exactly what I know, I'm afraid. I'm sure you can scope the place out. It's public property. Well, more or less. So, yes. Wonderful. I'm so glad we could come to an arrangement. He reaches around and grabs his walking stick up again, turns to Nirix and kind of traces one finger down her cheek and says, "Another time, my darling." And kind of turns, kind of gives quite an elaborate Doskval bow to you, which I'm going to say is kind of like, again, kind of clicking his heels together and doing a kind of florid arms out tipping of the head. And then he sort of walks out of the door. Nirix is sort of staring after him, somewhat enraptured.
Well,
that could come worse.
Yeah, and fairly well. This job seems doable for us, I think.
Yes. Excuse me if I'm being out of place here, Nirix, but
kind of blinks and turns to you.
You seem a lot more relaxed this time around. Have you happened to have more interactions with Dalmor?
Yeah, I know him a lot better now, I'd say. And clearly the working relationship I've established with him has paid off. She's kind of gesturing at the room.
You've gone up in the world?
I have. And also, that brings certain duties. So if all of you could piss off, now that I've got your job for you.
Gentlemen.
Always appreciated.
All right. She's kind of hustling you all out. She sort of kisses Silver on the cheek, and the door kind of clinks closed behind you.
I'd like to know a bit more. I'd like to try and do some investigation into this rock and see where it was maybe inscribed, or if I can find anything out about that.
That's going to be somewhat difficult because within your crew, and you don't, basically your crew does not have access to a whisper. an occult expert. Obviously, that would be something in your downtime that you could get whatever the action's called, like acquire assistance or acquire aid, whatever it's called. So it's definitely going to be a very challenging thing for you to do to acquire that. But you can absolutely do that if you want to
pocket one of these and kind of leave it for later.
Sure. Yeah. So with that in mind, folks, it's odd here because we're kind of coming up on the end of the stream. But I think what we can do before we go on the stream, maybe, is before we end the stream, is make some of those preparatory rolls. How about that? Do a bit of scoping of the score out in whatever way you want to do. Whether Echo wants to go, maybe try and find out something about these rune stones, or whether we want to check out the Skovland consulate, or anything else that we might want to do. How about that?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone want to jump in with something first? Pierre, do you want to make some kind of roll to try and
to try and identify these markings or the rocks themselves? Sure. I'll see if I can find anyone who might
talk about these things.
Yeah, and I think I'll try and make sure that I'm either showing them the rock or I'm showing them the symbol, but I'm not, like, I've drawn the symbol or something, but I'm not showing them both together.
Sure, absolutely. Why don't you, I'm going to say, because you don't have an access to a whisper, I'm going to say that this is both of limited effect and is a desperate roll. Because the thing is, going around talking about these things to people you might not know or trust, this isn't like, oh, tell me who made this sword. This is like, tell me what potentially dark magics are at play in this. It's very specific people you have to talk to about very specific things, and you could easily put your foot wrong by doing that. I think it's fair for you to say, I don't want to make this roll after I've warned you with that.
Yeah,
but I think go ahead if you want to.
I don't think it's worth. I think I'll reconsider if I think that this is going to massively put me in jeopardy, because I cannot take any more stress. To be honest, dealing with Dalmor was already stressful enough, let alone the score.
Sure. So maybe Echo kind of just has a closer look at the runestones later. You know what? We'll finish with that. That seems a nice place to finish. Would anyone else like to make, or indeed Pierre might like to make any kind of further prep rolls for the score?
Yeah, I think 3 sheets will definitely have a look around the consulate and see if there's any big things going on in the near future. That's like particularly could this be the anticipation of an event or whatever? Yeah.
Could something happen that gives you better access or gives you an opportunity or whatever? Yeah, absolutely. What action roll are you going to use for that?
I think survey.
I think that's the obvious choice and the best one. Is anyone going to assist 3 sheets in this?
I have 1 die.
I can't really.
That does not sound like an outpouring of volunteers. With that in mind, I will. I will. Do you have any coin left?
No.
I will offer you a devil's bargain for it if you want, and the result of the devil's bargain if you choose to take it. We've already got a lot of clocks running. I don't want to start another clock. I will give you a devil's bargain in exchange for some heat.
No, I'm fine.
Go for
it. I think we should always take devil's bargains. I rolled a 5.
Okay, well that is it is a controlled roll, so that's pretty solid. So I would say that you have. Yeah, sure. I would say that you scope out the Scovlan consulate. It is, as I said, in Crowsfoot, which is a real sort of mishmash of a district. It's got kind of older, kind of tall, older buildings from its proximity to Charter Hall. It's got slums. It's got areas that have effectively gone through the kind of Doskvol gentrification process that are kind of almost more bohemian in their nature, that cross over from Silkshore. It is a real mess of a district, and you find the Scovlan consulate with very little problem. It is a tall, pale sandstone building quite near to Charter Hall that is starting to crumble and decay badly. It definitely looks like a place, and you get the impression that you sort of the consulate has been moved there, and they couldn't take umbrage at it because it's quite a nice building, but it is definitely meant as an insult because of the location and the fact that it's kind of falling apart. You note that there seem to be at least 2 guards on the doors at all times of the day and night. You also note that there appear to be kind of like some sort of patrol thing inside. There's also quite a lot of workers there, a lot of Scovlan dignitaries, ambassadors and administrators and the like. You also note that during their opening of office hours, there is almost always a really long queue leading to the door of petitioners, refugees. There are many Scovlanders flooding into Doskvol daily. So that is it. You try and find out any information about kind of up and coming events, or you are aware that a lot of consulates have kind of balls and dignitaries parties and the like. The Scovlanders definitely do not seem to be putting on anything like that.
Cool, makes sense.
And the consequence you'll get from that is the guards get a good look at you a couple of times. So I'm going to say that if you end up in a situation where you're kind of going, oh, I'm just a regular dude and I haven't scoped out this place before, you're going to be in a risky position during the score, because they kind of got to look at you. But that's it.
That's fair. Good thing we have our bonuses to passing off as regular people.
Absolutely. So does anyone else want to do any preparatory roles?
I have kind of ideas for stuff, but I'm not sure if it'll be better as flashbacks rather than.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's fine if people don't. That's fine. We can.
Can't think of anything.
The only thing I would be like is, are there any unconventional entrances and exits, like potentially forcible windows?
Well, you can make a roll on that if you want, but it occurs to me that I should have given 3 sheets a bit more information about that. The building is part of a row of buildings, so there's kind of no sides to it. It backs directly onto the canal, and it's possible you could like climb up, onto the back of the building. It has quite a lot of large windows, most of which have bars over them because it's their attempt at making it secure, like recently affixed bars. It's possible you could get through some of them. Some of the windows at the back on the canal don't have those, although they're like the higher floors. There's no immediately, like the only doorway is at the front. Maybe there's some, you could get in through the bars, maybe at the front, maybe at the back, or even maybe climb higher, or maybe go over the rooftops, something like that. But do you want to make a specific action roll to check out those routes?
Sure.
What action roll are you making? I mean, I sense prowl coming over the horizon, but whatever you want.
Yeah, I was just gonna I'll try sort of running around the rooftops around the place, seeing if I can gauge the distances and jump and then be like, okay, so I could make it roughly that far, and that's about that distance.
Yeah. Trying to kind of check out a bit more about surreptitious entryways to the place.
Sure.
Absolutely. Well, I'd say that is probably a risky roll.
Okay.
So why don't you? Is anyone going to assist Echo in this? I'm guessing not.
No, it
If
doesn't
it's
seem
running over rooftops,
No problem. I'm not going to offer a devil's bargain. I mean, if anyone is, then else is.
I'll
then
assist.
Okay.
okay.
Is that 2 stress?
It is indeed. Isn't it 1 stress for assisting, or is it 2?
I think it's 1 stress for assisting.
It's 1 stress for assisting. So yeah, sure. 3 sheets. While you're scoping it out, you can help Echo with this. Go ahead, Echo. So that's a 3 die roll, I think, for you, right?
That's a 4 die roll because I improved my prowl.
Oh yeah, you did. Nice.
Nice.
1, 5, 5, 4. So 5.
So you got 5. Cool, no problem. So that is a controlled result. So let's have a look at what complication you might have. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I think this is fair. So, you scope out the area. You think you could basically get over to the rooftop there. There's no direct rooftop entrance, but you think if you heft yourself down at the back of the building, there is rather a loose window that you could maybe get through. It would be a position. It would be a way in. You think and you probably wouldn't be noticed because obviously in Doskvol there's no such thing as daytime. Everything would be quite dark. You do note that if you do attempt that, you will absolutely be doing it from a desperate position, because you'll be dangling from the rooftop and trying to get in through this loose window with a long, let's say 5-story plunge down to the canal beneath you.
Hey, he's done it before.
He has done it before. So, you
mean plunge to my doom?
There we go. So
you
have found a way of getting in that's maybe a bit more sneaky and stealthy, but if you do it, it's going to be super dangerous. So there we go. And I'll note down back window desperate, so we know that that's the result of that. And I think no one else gave any indication that they wanted to make any of the preparatory rolls. So what we're going to do, we're going to end on just a very little scene, and the scene is Echo in the lighthouse, in that top chamber where you usually have your discussions, but everyone else has gone. Maybe they've gone to talk to the rovers, or even gone back to their homes to go to bed for the night. And Echo is just there, kind of fiddling with those rune stones, and you barely notice as the gas light, just kind of the gas runs out, or the oil or electric. The oil is probably more likely not gas. You don't have gas power in your lighthouse. The oil is the last of the oil is consumed, and the room is drenched with darkness. And beneath that scarf around your throat, there's just a little of wonder as you see. Whatever the runestones are, you still have no idea, but they glow on very dim white yellow in this absolute darkness. And I think we'll leave that there for the week. So we'll start that score, placing these runestones in the Skovland Consulate next week, folks. So thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions or comments, throw them in the chat and Steve will pop them up for us to discuss. In the meantime, the usual promo, we've got a bunch of links down below, links to YouTube and Twitch. You're watching on one, why not check out the other? Links to our social media, our Discord, our Patreon, all that good stuff. We run 3 weekly series. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu, Tuesdays is Blades in the Dark, and Wednesdays is Coriolis. Our schedule is a bit all over the place at the moment. We have kind of weeks off and replacement things and blah, 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 blah. But if you check out our schedule on Twitch, it is up to date. So that should lead you to the right place. We also do monthly one-shots on the first Saturday of every month, the most recent of which was Honey Heist. And next is on Saturday, 7th of August, which is The One Ring. All those, like all our series, are available in VOD form over on our YouTube. We also run a fortnightly series on Sundays on the Free League Publishing Twitch, not here, but the Free League Publishing channel. And that's on this Sunday, and that is Fetters of Stone, our kind of spin-off Simbaroom from our main campaign. That's going well, and they're absolutely not in horrible trouble. And John's character was definitely not nearly disemboweled last time.
Cool.
It's fine.
So, there we go. There we go. That's all the promo stuff. And also, because they've been hanging out in chat and they followed us 3 days ago, thank you, Lord Malice, for the follow. Yeah. And here's Lord Malice. Definitely need to go back and catch up on past episodes. Sounds more and more like it's a GTA plus Thief. Yeah, that's a pretty good description. Like, it's... Yeah, Blades in the Dark is absolutely very heavily inspired by the Thief video games. Yeah, and also by very much by Dishonored, the video game series, which I believe, and I keep saying this, and I'm sure I read it somewhere, but don't hold me to it. I'm pretty sure Blades in the Dark was originally developed to be the Dishonored role-playing game, but then wasn't for some reason, which is why a lot of the names are very, very similar, like Doskvol instead of God, what is it called in Dunwall,
yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's meant to be similar, but yeah, GTA plus Thief is spot on. Absolutely.
Grand Theft anything.
Yes.
Remember you saying that like after having quickly Googled something. So I'm like to agree with you, I think.
I think it is. I remember reading that when I was in the bath. That's what I remember, but I can't remember where it was. Because I was reading, it was the first time I read Blades in the Dark, Justin's Despairing. It was the first time I read Blades in the Dark, and I was like, so much of this is so like Dishonored. And I Googled like Blades in the Dark Dishonored, and I think I found a Reddit post or something. It was like, yeah, it was originally like meant to be.
Guys, this is how fake news spreads.
Maybe. I could be, like I could be completely wrong. Look, John Harper wants to come onto our stream and therefore publicize it to a certain degree, disagree with it, and say, you're wrong, you fucker. I'm more than happy for him to do that because he's made a great game.
Yes.
So,
it's great.
So,
we should just spread this kind of rumor about all our games. Yeah.
And then get all the
One Ring was originally designed.
Talking about? And they're like, oh, sorry.
The One Ring was originally designed to be a Star Trek.
Yeah.
They recently changed it. And Honey Heist, Winnie the Pooh.
Honey Heist, originally a Tarantino RPG. Yeah, there we go. Cool. I don't think we've got any more comments or questions, folks. So thank you, as usual, to my players. Thank you to Steve for being a great stream manager, and thank you to you for watching. And we'll see you next week for more Blades in the Dark. Catch you later, folks. Take care.